Silver and Blood is releasing in 2 hours, so let's talk a little bit about day 1 reroll targets, day 1 tier list, and of course a little bit of my plans for this game. As usual, hello there guys, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Today's topic, Silver and Blood Open Beta. This is the release, just a bad translation from the Chinese version, and we're getting this game in a couple hours. If you are in NA or EU, this game is not 2 hours, it's 14 hours until release. We're gonna be playing the Southeast Asia version. That's it. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with this game, and like I was saying, day 1 tier list and reroll targets. There is something really important to understand about this game, and is that all the information we have is by playing the previous betas. And not only that, by the CN community playing the previous betas. Meaning a lot of this information, even though it's good, can be changed now on this final version. There is some people, some creators with access to an early version of the game, like a test server. Sadly, I don't have access, so for now, everything we're going to be talking about is based on the previous betas. So that's it. Let's talk a little bit about the day 1 tier list, which I will be leaving a link in the description down below as usual, to waifus.com, and you can check the tier list, not only to this, but also to our Silver and Blood comprehensive sheet. Now, this is mostly work by Tarsis. I've been helping him out on anything he needs, and of course, the reason why we'll be making this is because a lot of the content in this game, a lot of the numbers in here are basically Nike, so it was pretty easy to make, in the sense of you just need to take as a reference the numbers on Nike, and it literally works in Silver and Blood. It's the same. That's it. Let's talk a little bit about the reroll targets and my opinion what you should be going for. So for those of you who don't understand this game, you need 3 moon phases in order to go into Blood Moon. You need to activate a waxing moon first, which is all of these units here. You need to then activate your half moon, which is these characters here, and then you need to activate your full moon. This means you go into Blood Moon for 10 seconds, dealing extra damage, and you can spam the skills of your characters, which is also important. So that's it. Understanding that for the most part, and again this for the most part, waxing moons are support characters, healers, and tanks. For the most part, B2s tend to be either DPSs or supports, or a mix of the two. And then again, like I was saying, for the most part, full moon characters tend to be DPSs. And again, tend to be. This is not set in stone. And games long term tend to ignore these restrictions. But for now, that's how it works. That said, as you can see, there is some characters already that are pretty good in the T0 category. These characters, all the characters with the red background, are light and dark units. They are higher rarity characters. In this game, they are called ancestors, right? Since it's vampire related, they're called ancestors. I would not really recommend rolling for them, just because it's a 0.5%. Or I think it's even less to get one of these ancestor characters specifically. You also get one for free after 450 pulls. And that's also important to understand, because rerolling in this game is not really worth it unless you go all in. So as you can see, after 150 pulls, you get a random SSR, sorry, a selector for an SSR. After 300 pulls, you get another selector for a different SSR. And after 450, you get a selector that includes pilgrims. So you will be guaranteed getting the strongest characters 100%, because you're your first selector. You should be getting Van Helsing. Okay, this is one of the strongest damage dealers. I know. If you don't like whose bandos, it is what it is, right? You could be going for something different. For Lamia, for example, Lamia is not a reroll target. Lamia is the first banner, and instead of rolling on the right up character, you will be always guaranteed on the first multi on the tutorial a random SSR, meaning you will not be able to reroll for her unless you want to play for longer. But if you're doing the basic reroll, which should be, I believe, 5 to 10 minutes, you cannot go for her. She's the first banner. So Lamia is out of the way. The only characters I would recommend going for, of course, are going to be Van Helsing, or if you prefer to go for a cappella. As you can see, Tarsis has added some information on the reroll targets, and if you decide to go for a cappella, she is a really rounded support that will work on both physical and magical teams. Long term, you will need to be building a couple teams of each, physical and magical, but for now, if you go for a support that will work everywhere, you are saving yourself some time. So the prime targets, in my opinion, for reroll, like I was saying, is going to be Van Helsing and a cappella. If you want to go for pilgrims, all of them are good options. All of them are. In my opinion, it's just too low of a percentage to be, using 5, 6, 7 hours of rerolling, while you could just be playing the game and getting instead Van Helsing or something else after 150 pulls. The 150 pull selector should be able to obtain pretty fast. The 300 and 450 will take a couple months most likely until you get those 450 pulls, unless you are in a spender. Of course, if you're in a spender, this will be a lot faster, but if you're in a spender, you are not re-rolling by any means. That said, like I was saying, outside of Van Helsing and a cappella, I would not recommend going for anyone else. Pilgrims are too rare to go for and will take just too long in my opinion as a reroll, but if you decide to go for any of the ancestors, all of them are fantastic, even those on T1, right? Also remember that the tier list is based on CN betas, so it's a good reference, but you should always test your characters, because there is a lot of people who, for example, love Yggdrasil and will say that it's the only tank you need. There is a lot of people who will also say that a lot of the tanks are lower than they should be. Friedrich, Theophonet, all of these characters should be a little bit higher because they're really strong. So right now, take tier list as a reference, and the first week or two, we're going to be actually testing all of the characters to see if we need to update anything or not. I will be leaving a link in the description to this spreadsheet, like I was saying that Tarsis and I are making, where you have all the information you need, the tier list, the reroll targets, wishlist recommendations, and a bunch of extra data. And of course, in the description, you have the link as well for my website with a couple extra tools like the team builder and a calculator for combat power as well, which in this game is called blood power, not combat power. That's it, a short video because there is not a lot to talk about before the game actually releases. If you guys are interested in playing the SIA version with us, feel free to come by. We might make our own guild or join a different one that we were invited to. We'll see what we do. That's it, that's gonna be for this one. As usual, love you all bastards, good luck with your pool dinners, and I'll see you on the next one.